Welcome to the Foil Life Podcast, where we talk about foiling and the lifestyles of those who enjoy these great sports.
Right. Well, hey, welcome back. It's been a while.
Thank you, Luke. Happy to be here.
What were you, like the 10th or 12th episode or something back then?
Was I that early?
I think so.
Awesome.
Yeah. It was my first solo episode, actually. So I was like so nervous and so green. So congratulations on your little one. And we've seen him at the hatchery so many times. I think he's just ready to rip. So,
I mean, I joke, he has more time on foil than most humans because I was winging with him in the womb, you know? Yeah, we got him in the wind. He actually can't breathe that well when you put him like right into the wind. I think they are still learning how to breathe in the wind. So we're always like, oh my gosh, kind of protect him. But we're trying to get him used to being out and about with us. And we've traded off a few times with him now at the hatchery, Brandon and I winging, and it's worked really well. So I'm super thankful. He's a good baby and he's just the cutest thing. He's bringing us so much joy.
How's that whole experience been? First time?
My dad asked me this after I gave birth. He was like, what was one word to describe that? And I was like, gnarly. It is gnarly. I mean, I had an easy pregnancy. I was winging up until 7 months pregnant. I felt great most of the time. I mean, we were dealing with Brandon's accident, and so that was a whole thing. But I felt really good. I stayed super active. And even then, being pregnant, growing human, giving birth, like the first month of having a new brand new human is gnarly. The experience is just like, wow. You really can't even describe it. It's so expansive and beautiful and wonderful and also really hard. Really hard.
There's no manual.
No
manual.
And a woman's body goes through a lot.
I can imagine. I think the guys have it a little bit easier, I think, on that side of the fence.
You guys have no idea. Really? You really have no idea. You cannot even fathom.
We're like, let's go. It's over. Let's move on.
Yeah. But I'm so thankful for the experience. You know, I was on the fence about having kids for a little while. My dad wouldn't even talk to me about it. He was so pissed. And honestly, now I'm so thankful. It's once again, such a beautiful, transformative experience. And I'm so thankful that we get to be on this journey with him and that we've been blessed with just a beautiful, beautiful baby boy. It's such a blessing.
Mm-hmm. I talked to Brandon a little bit about it when he came on the show a little while ago, and I'm super happy that he is doing so much better and that we were able to hang out at AWSI and have conversations and be around. We're so thankful. That I can't imagine how that would have been for you as a caretaker on that side of things, and plus family and friends, just to because I went through something gnarly as well. It was family, friends, and everything that helped me through it. So I can't imagine.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, Brandon looks great from the outside and he's had a lot of amazing physical recoveries, but we're still really in the thick of it with his brain injury. He's experiencing, we can let him speak to that more, but he's experiencing depression on the other side of his mania. He was manic for about 6 months following the brain injury, and that needs to balance out in your brain, apparently. And so he's now experiencing depression. And this is definitely been one of the hardest years of my life, and has led to me reevaluating a lot of things, which I think we'll talk about. Mm-hmm. The shutting down of my swimwear company, realigning with new sponsors, looking at where I want to put my energy, and just kind of realizing that you really have to take care of yourself before you can take care of anybody else. And really the only thing I think that matters in this life is your health and your community, your family, the relationships that you get to cultivate and enjoy.
It's crazy to think about it though, but when you start something and then you keep going down that path, and then there's people that are invested in you staying on that path, and then you keep going down there, and eventually you have to kind of, maybe you either get forced to stop through a year where it's just like, it gives you time to think, or I don't know, some people just keep on going forever. But what was the thinking? Because this is huge. You've been doing this and for such a long time. Like, when did you come to that conclusion of like, okay, it's time for me to do a switch?
Honestly, I've been thinking about it for years. The swimwear business has always been hard to run. Production, manufacturing, it's honestly been a really difficult business. I'm always having to put out multiple thousands and thousands of dollars on my credit cards and taking business loans out in order to pay for production, buying fabric up front, putting down deposits with my manufacturers, and then not seeing that money back until at least a minimum of 6 months. So it's always been a stressful business. And I've had so many ups and downs with it. I've wanted to quit a million times. And I'm glad I persevered for so long because I've really learned so much and it's really set me up, I think, for the next thing. But during COVID was the kind of like, okay, what should I do here? I wasn't sure what was going to happen with COVID. At the beginning of the year in 2020, it was like people were still going to be buying bathing suits. It was supply chains were interrupted. All of those things happened. And so I really started questioning at that point what kind of I wanted to do. And I actually looked at, I think this was in 2021. It's hard to keep all the years straight, but I started shopping it around and seeing if I could sell it. I was like talking to every mentor possible, just looking at, okay, how do I offload this thing in a way that is going to feel really good? And I got some people that were really interested, some people that were like, oh, maybe we'll buy it and, take it to the next level. Those deals fell through, nothing manifested. And eventually I actually ended up bringing on a partner. That's what the universe plopped in my lap at the 11th hour, to be honest. It was September and I was like, I either need to shut this thing down by the end of the year or what was my other option? I don't know. Like I'm not finding a buyer. It's September. And the universe plopped this perfect person down in my lap. She's actually a woman that worked at Nike for 20 years in design, was an angel investor, super big fan of mine, really smart. And I brought her on as a partner. Then we spent the next 2 years looking at how to grow the brand. She took over doing design. I was all fired up again because I'm like, okay, great. I've got someone in my corner. It doesn't feel like just me anymore in this. And we're going to make big moves with this thing. And things always take a little bit longer than your plans are. And so the fundraising got stretched out. We never actually, we were going to raise money and really pour a lot more into the brand. And that never happened or didn't happen on the timeline that was quick enough. And then Brandon got in his accident and then I found out I was pregnant. And it was at first it was like, okay, well, the business was on pause for a while as I was dealing with all that. And then at the beginning of 2023, no, this year, 2024. Yeah. I'm like, what are the years? At the beginning of this year, because Brandon's accident was the end of last year. I was like, okay, Rebecca, my partner, I'm like, we got to get some money in here. I'm having a baby in August. Let's go. We need to actually fundraise and start making some moves. And so she presented me with this fundraising plan. And at the end of the presentation, because I was all like, all right, great. Rebecca's on here. My goal with this whole brand was to build it up as that grows. It's going to get my name out there more as my speaking grows. It's going to get the swimwear more exposure and everything really is just going to build on one another. And I'm going to have people running my swimwear brand and I'm going to be over here doing the things I actually want to be doing now. But I'm still going to have this great brand. And at the end of the presentation, Rebecca, said, we could do this whole plan. This is like March of this year. Or you could take a pause and you could take a break. And at first, I was really taken aback. And I was like, what do you mean take a pause? How do you pause a company that has bills to pay and needs to keep its sales going and has people people that we need to pay? And I've got my mortgage to pay. Like, what do you mean take a pause? And I actually sat with that for a while and was thinking like, okay, either I have a choice to either like really pour as much energy into this as possible and try and make some moves before the baby comes, or just, put it on hold and kind of see what's going to happen. And it took me a while to come to the conclusion of a pause, which ended up being a shutdown. But I had sat with that thought for a while, and I actually had written at the beginning of the year, beginning of 2024, I wrote I always do intention setting and goal setting and all that stuff. And I wrote my words for the year. And one of my words for the year was momentum. And then when I looked at this decision and whether or not to pause or go full steam ahead, I went back in my journal and actually crossed off momentum. I was like, I don't want this. I don't want momentum. I don't want to have any goals. This feels too hard after everything that we've gone through with the accident and the pregnancy and where my priorities lie now. I don't want to pursue this. And so it was a lot of wrestling over years. Like in 2020, when I was like, okay, can I sell this thing or am I shutting it down? What's happening? I went through a lot of release and identity processing and a lot of like, can I let this thing go? Because for the longest time, Luke, I was like, I physically couldn't let it go.
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
absolutely sense.
I can't. And then finally I was like, okay, no, I think I'm ready. I can. That was a really long story.
No, that's why you're here, to be able to share it. That's a 4-year time frame. That makes sense though, because how long had you been in there for?
Well, this is 13 years. At the end of this year is 13 years.
13, 14, yeah.
Yeah, the beginning of January 2022 is when I first launched it. And I started working on it the year before that. So it's been a lot of time and energy. And looking back on it, I think now it's sad. I'm so proud of it. And I'm so excited for the next chapter. But still looking back, I'm sad because of the amount of time and energy I put into it, and the girl that I was when I started it, who really just wanted to prove herself and set out to make a brand because she wanted to be an entrepreneur so badly and was attached to the result. And now I know that your worthiness doesn't come from what you do, and it's we're all inherently worthy no matter what.
But through that whole journey, you were helping empower women in sport. You were looking at it differently. You were competing against those big dogs that might not necessarily care about those values and are just looking to push stuff and getting manufacturing in China by kids and like all that kind of stuff. So I think, and then inspired you don't know how many young women that you inspired to A, kite, or B, get into to take the chance and to go and pursue something of their dreams as well. So like, for all of that, I think like congratulations for doing that, and especially for having the courage to do that, because that takes a lot of courage to go out and do something and then put yourself on Instagram and share stories about it and share how you feel and all that. Like that takes a lot of courage to be able to do some, like we get scared about just putting out a reel on Instagram and showing my face, right? It's like no, man, we gotta do this right. But it's like for you to be able to do something like that through that whole length of like 13, because normally stuff you can almost look at as 7-year cycles. You went through like 2 7-year cycles with this thing. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, thank you for that acknowledgement. And that's, I think, one of the reasons why I actually had a hard time letting it go, because I was like, gosh, this is a great platform. We have an amazing community. I want to just keep growing this thing. And I have gotten so many messages from people that have said, you inspired me to start my business, or watching you grow your brand has enabled me to believe in myself more. And so things like that just really obviously hit my heart and make it all totally worth it. And also I'm like, oh, dang it. I'm not going to have this thing anymore. But I'm so past that now, because I realize that there's so much power in letting go of something that you've grown with so much and that you're not growing with anymore. It's time to move on to the next thing that's really going to be expansive and be growth oriented and focused. And I think there's so much, I use the word power again in saying, does this thing really align with who I want to become? And am I only holding on to this because of sunk cost fallacy, because I put so much into it that I can't physically let it go? And I've obviously come into the conclusion that the next evolution is going to be so much greater, and I'm super excited for it.
Now, what is that?
Speaking.
The big reveal.
Yeah, speaking. Yeah, speaking and mentoring. It's a maybe it's
amazing.
not. Yeah, maybe it's not. Maybe it is a big surprise. Maybe it's not because I've been doing it on the kind of side. But that's what I feel the most inspired by and the most passionate about. It's sharing my story, as I have been doing for 13 years, as you pointed out, and inspiring and lifting up other humans. I have gotten so much out of listening to inspirational, motivational speakers. And I'm like, yes, amazing. You make me feel awesome. Let's go. Let's do this. And when I am able to offer and give that to someone else, it really, truly feels like the Japanese word ikigai, which means your purpose. Do you know that term? It's where the intersection of what you're good at, what the world needs, what you can get paid for. And now I'm totally blanking on the fourth piece. What you're good at, what the world needs, what you can get paid for, and what's the fourth one?
I don't know.
There's a fourth one. Shoot. I say this all the time and I'm totally forgetting it. But it's that intersection of all those things that's greater than your purpose. It's your calling. It's your mission. It's something that really lights up your soul. And so that's where I'm at right now. And I think I've learned to not put so much on what I'm doing and say, okay, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. I'm going to be, one of my mentors says to practice high intention, low attachment, high intention with what I'm doing, coming into it with the greatest expectation, but the lowest attachment to the outcome. Whatever is meant to happen will happen.
Do you think that you will have more time for, let's say, family and for water time, or to raise your son as well with this business rather than Sensi Swimwear?
That's a great question, because with an infant, I feel like I have no time. And he is sucked. Let go of the swimmer company. I don't feel like it's going to open up time because I'm like, I have no time now. But certainly, I think because I've been working on it in the background and I've been juggling, to be honest, 3 businesses: Strut kiteboarding and wingfoiling camps, the speaking and mentoring, which I'm most passionate about, and then the swimmer company. And the swimmer company takes up the most time, and has evolved to be the one that I've been least passionate about over the last couple of years. And so another one of the people that I really looked up to, a woman named Marie Forleo, says, simplify to amplify. Let go of what's no longer serving you so you can pour into what lights you up.
That's true. What do you like the most about that public speaking mentoring space?
The impact. I believe in the message that I'm sharing so much that it doesn't feel like I'm selling myself, or of course my ego gets involved, but it doesn't feel like, oh, I need to do this to prove myself, which is how the swimwear brand felt. It's more like, I'm doing this because I know that it serves people and I know that it's helpful and I feel lit up by it and I know that it lights up other people. And so it doesn't matter if I trip coming up on the stage or if I look stupid. If one person is affected by the message, then that's the importance of it.
Do you think that closing down, you'll be able to reach maybe a new demographic of people that would have otherwise said? Because now, let's say you've gone through the whole circle of everything. Like my first thought was obviously, try to sell it, or try to do that. But it's like you've gone through all of those steps. Now you can mentor people, because let's say that was a circle you were meant to close, which it is, but then somebody else could be in that same circle, not see it. So you might see those obstacles to say, no, I think you should push through, or.
Yeah, 100%. And I think once I was coming into the acceptance of, okay, a pause leading into a shutdown, I knew that this was going to be, I knew that if I didn't actually have the power and the strength to shut it down, that I was going to feel bad about myself. Like I knew that the most impactful decision was actually going to be to let it go. And by doing that, you're exactly right. I'll be able to lead more people through it because I've had that experience, and it'll open up so much more freshness and so much more newness. And I won't be just hanging on to this thing anymore, because I think we do that so much. And I really think in this culture, there's this idea of winners never quit and quitters never win. But in fact, quitting is a super powerful tool. And I think the most successful people quit things. Like you have to fail a million times. And when you can look at something and say, actually, this is not working. Why am I still putting time into it? It's, there's kind of question. Okay, let me ask you this, Luke. Are you the type of person that if you start a book, you have to finish it?
You're talking to the wrong man here. I think I've read 5 books, I think, in my entire life. When I went through my rehab process, I read 4 books a series 3 times, I think. Yeah, I may have read 6 in my whole life. I don't know. I just felt like I would read when I was 85 and retired. And it was just like, no, I got my body. Like I have to do something with, especially after recovery, right? You're like, I want to just play as much as I can with it. And then obviously my other time work, I don't have time for that. But sorry, that was a rant.
Okay. No. I love it. Okay. Well, how about like if you start a podcast or, if you start, the point is,
I have that personality, like, especially like I'm learning how to foil more so in the waves here. So like I'll do a 6K downwinder and just every day I'm going to just practice up until I get a little bit better. And then if I have to quit, I get like today I came up and I was falling all on my jibes. I said, well, you're tired, bud. Let's take you. Like it's been 3, I was supposed to go out for an hour. I think it ended up being a 3-hour session.
Oh, wow.
6K down, 6K up. Like it's that kind of mentality for all of us, right? Because we have to be stubborn.
Yes. And that's a positive. I'm not trying to say that, just like giving up on things. Because what is that? The quote about climbing Mount Everest, like who was the first guy to summit? Oh my gosh. I can't think. By the way, mom brain is totally a real thing. You totally lose your track of thinking. But anyway, it's like, why summit a mountain? And the answer is because it's there. It's like, as humans, we have innate nature to, conquer things and achieve and like get to the end of the trail. But all that to say,
yeah, sorry about that.
If you, and no shade on people that have to finish books, but it's like if you're reading a book or listening to a podcast or doing anything and it sucks, it's like put it down. Why
so
you don't have to? Yeah, it's really hard. You don't have to finish it just because you feel the need to see it to conclusion, and that's
true.
Maybe not the best analogy for moving up from something that's no longer serving you. But the point being, when we can recognize that things are no longer helping us grow or no longer serving us, then there's so much strength and once again, power in moving on from it.
And self-respect. Like looking at that, when you look back at things and you've crossed off all your T's and closed all your doors, then maybe that was just supposed to be there for that next chapter. Mm-hmm. And I know you're going to have a lot of fabric left, so you'll be able to make all this cool clothes for your little guy.
I know, I'm trying to sell it
Any
right
neon
now.
colors left?
No.
Damn. As we say, we should get some. We'll make some shirts.
Oh, awesome. I think of a stripe.
Okay. Yeah. And I heard something else about you writing for a particular somebody. Yeah.
Yes. I am super thrilled. I'm sharing this publicly for the first time on the Wing Life podcast. I am now an ambassador for Armstrong.
Whoa.
And lucky
army.
Kind of a big deal. I'm thrilled. And I want to tell this story because I think it just really exemplifies how awesome of a brand that they are. And I'm just thrilled to be partnering with them. As I mentioned earlier this year, when I'm reevaluating my entire life and looking at what I want to be doing next, I felt called to meet with other brands. I've been writing with Slingshot for a number of years, and I just felt that I wanted to align with a brand that was putting a little bit more into women and supporting women in water sports my entire career. And I got connected with a guy from Armstrong who happened to be in Hood River for a week, and he actually came to the Egypt premiere of the movie that Kylie Zarmati and I filmed in Egypt last October, which is all about Sarah Sadek, the first Egyptian female pro kite surfer from Egypt. Super exciting. We loved that project. Slingshot, Cotopaxi, and Ride Engine supported that project, and we premiered it at Kiteboard for Cancer. Anyway, a guy named Nathan happened to be there from Armstrong.
He's a great guy. Yeah, I met him yeah.
Did you meet him?
Yeah.
And he came up to me right afterwards and said, "Hi, I'm Nathan. I'd love to have a chat with you. Let's go get coffee. I'm here for a few weeks." I was like, "Great, let's do it." I spoke at the premiere. Yeah, I spoke at the premiere, so he saw me speak. And we went out for coffee and just kind of chatted about the industry and everything. And this is a funny little interlude, Luke. By the end of the meeting, we aligned on a lot of stuff. And he told me that he wanted to have, by the end of 2025, equal numbers of men and women on their team. And I was like, yes, we're here for that. Amazing. And at the end of that first coffee date, I said, "Nathan, what's your role at Armstrong anyway?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm the CEO." And I was like, "Oh, okay, let's go." So I'm 9 months pregnant at this point, by the way.
Yeah.
So then we have another meeting the next week and kind of just chatting about what I put together, this little package for him, everything that I've done in the industry and what I can offer, and we're just kind of chatting out details. And this is a Friday, and I'm like huge, 9 months pregnant, huge. And we kind of do a little handshake deal. And then I give birth on Sunday, that next Sunday. We meet on Friday. I give birth on Sunday. And then he leaves town, comes back for AWSI. And we have another meeting where we're actually like, okay, are we going to do this thing? Yeah. When's my contract up here? I want to do this thing. And I had the baby with me in the final coffee date. So for a brand to really put their money where their mouth is in terms of we're supporting women. And yes, this is a pregnant athlete that's about to become a mom, has the baby, is now a mom. Here's the baby right here. And yeah, we're going to sign her on as an ambassador. I was just blown away. And so it really makes me excited about future projects with them. And we're already lining up some more fun film projects. And as I said, my entire career has been about empowering women in water sports. And I really think that we have done the moms a disservice. And there's a lot of pro kiteboarder dads that are out there, but I really felt like, why should my career be stifled because I have a baby?
Especially when the industry is accommodating to the lifestyle that allows you to do and to be the mom that you'd like to be, right? Like there isn't that, I don't know, it's probably just back down to the patriarchy from a long time ago, I'm assuming. I know. But thank
it really
you for
is, yeah.
spearheading this and kind of trying to keep continuously kind of rupturing the stereotypes that have been built over decades, which are no longer valuable. I think it's time to move on.
It's time to move on. And there's so many women in winging now, and obviously tons of moms, that it just really feels like a powerful time. And I'm super excited to keep sharing the journey, because that as we spoke to with the swimmer company and with all of the work that I've done and being in the industry for so long, you can't be what you can't see. And so I think there's just so much power in showing other people and moms and humans and women what's possible. And I get excited about pushing those boundaries. And
you're in a beautiful place to do it. And their gear is really good.
Yeah, really good.
And, I don't know what, like new world champ, like Cass just.
Oh man, yeah.
You've seen his movie, right? The one he just put out?
Actually, I have not.
Oh, you should. Yeah, that thing's insane.
I need to go.
Insane.
Yeah, I was going to go to the premiere when I was here in Hood River, and then I didn't with the baby.
He's like a little short little Laird, if we can say that. Like for the same level and degree of enthusiasm, and such an amazing kid in person, and so humble about it as well, right? Like you'll walk up to him, he's just super stoked, but you would know that kid's charging this and this and this.
That's insane.
Yeah, and how Army is such an amazing personality. So So they're a good team. Like I spend quite a bit of time with them whenever I go to WSI. Yeah.
Oh, you do? Cool.
Yeah, I kind of go hang out and normally see Cal and everybody else. So yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it just really feels like I said, like they're really a brand that's putting their money where their mouth is, and it feels super aligned. And so I'm really excited. I'm excited
for you.
Thank you.
Nice. All right. So a couple new things, new baby, new this, new that. Hey.
Hey.
Well, thanks for sharing. Is there anything
You're
else that
welcome.
you wanted to put out there? Website, same as it was before for your work?
I'm actually, sensigraves.com is going to be my new traffic point. I mean, I have had that this whole time, but that will be where everything is going to be living. I'm actually redoing that website right now to reflect all of these changes, and everyone can get swimsuits through the end of the year. We've got a Black Friday sale coming up, but after that, they will no longer be available. And so go and get them while you can. Who knows? Maybe in 10 years, I'll be like, let's do a collection. But these are collector's items at this point. And so SensiGravesSwim.com will be up until December 31st, 2024.
Well, congratulations. Coming through quite like so much stuff this year. And congratulations of how you both have gone through it as a family, seeing how happy your little one is, and then doing stuff that's more in line with the both of you is nice to see.
Thank you, Luke. Thank you. We
You're
have a lot of blessings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we have to.
Yeah.
we have to.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining me. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in September if I don't get to Hood sooner. But looking forward to seeing you and Brandon again and little guy. And thanks for everybody for joining us tonight.
Thank you.